All right. Welcome back to the finals of the Fatal Blowout Ancient Cave Tournament 2022. I apologize for that delay. We had quite a few things to go over on the tech side there. First and foremost, I have to make a little bit of an announcement. So if you just watched the last race, Eve was our winner of the wildcard round, which normally would mean that she would move on to the finals to race. Here's the thing. So Eve did not win her round previously, and she was actually helping us test the seeds for these races. So in a weird turn of events, she actually was the one who tested the finals seed. And she didn't think it would be fair to race the other racers already knowing kind of what's going on. So she decided to back out. And Mike 34, who got second place, is going to be running from the wild card. So, conspiracy, lies, and drama. Yes, we just wanted it to be as fair as possible, and it was Eve's decision. So we're all on the same page. So we're good to go. The other thing is Traffic Talks is with Bamboo Shadow, who is having some internet issues, but we think we got it worked out. So if you do want to check out Traffic Talks' stream, you'll just have to watch it here. It won't be available on his channel. All right, I think that's it for now. So I am going to just go ahead and introduce the racers, and we'll get started, and I'll pass it over to commentary. So we do have Traffic Talks, who's over at Strugglethon, which is the struggle in the top left. We've got Sinister Rain. We've got Eliason. We've got Prankers. And we've got Mike 34. All right, runners, if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and count you down. And we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. You might see Traffic Talks in the top left there, a little bit behind, but we'll fix that a little bit later. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to our illustrious commentary team of Dank Meats and Mrs. Mike back for a third time. She's doing such a good job, we just can't help but have her back. So y'all, please take it away.
Hey, thanks for doing all of this. I appreciate it. And,
hey, everybody.
So yeah, my name's Dank Meats. I am Ancient Cave speedrunner that hasn't played in so long that I don't even really know what I'm looking at anymore. I'm gonna assume that these runners are good since they're in the finals, but that's kind of really all I can say at the moment. Let me pull up these rules. Oh yeah, this is a D-Rando tournament, huh? Yeah. So all of our runners are going to be racing on the same seed if you weren't here for the wild card round. This is kind of a new thing we're doing, and it's pretty interesting, but it's also makes me sad that I died to Mimic that were apparently beatable by everyone else. But anyway, my saltiness aside, go ahead and introduce yourself, Mrs. Mike.
I'm sorry. I had to mute for that. Okay. Meats is clearly very salty, so we're going with salty meats for the rest of this tournament. This is the final round of this year's Fatal Blowout tournament, and yes, this is our first D-Rando tournament of all time. And what are we at, like 6 or 7 here? The runners are... Alright, I'm not going to get too salty here with Dink, because I was eliminated in round 1 and had to go and blow off steam in a hot shower. So the runners that we have here, Travatox is in the yellow, up in the top left-hand corner. We have Sinister Rain down in the bottom left. The Ellison, who is our resident king of the cave, and I say that because he is our any percent speed running champion. He's number 1 on that leaderboard. X Pancras is brand new to the cave. He's coming to us from the Final Fantasy IV randomizer. We'll have to get into a little bit more of that later on. Mike 34, whom I know and love on a very dear level, I'm sure you can imagine, got lucky, let's just say, to make it here to the final round of 2022 Fatal Blowout. So thank you everybody for joining us. We are watching now customary Eagle baby levels.
All right, so sorry for the awkward start. I kind of just woke up and I'm chugging energy drinks. I promise my brain will be on any second now.
No worries. I was actually supposed to come on for the first round, so I was able to. I'm like on coffee number 3, if you can't tell. So yeah, I'll pick it up for you for a little while.
One thing I'd like to point out that so I'm hoping that since it's a D-rando, whoever chose these seeds put my favorite thing in the cave, which is horses that attack you in doorways when you're trying to go through them. It's probably one of the most infuriating things that you can fight early on in the cave because it doesn't end your run like some things will later, but it just eats time, and if you run any percent, anything that eats time just becomes like your least favorite thing in the world. So I'm hoping we see some of that just to pass on a little bit of the salt to the runners here, you know what I'm saying?
Earning that keepsake. Okay, I want to see you change your name now to Salty Meats in the Discord, which, by the way, the Ancient Cave Discord is one of the best places to hang out online. If I can say so myself, very open, very friendly, very knowledgeable. So if you've been watching this thinking, hey, I might pick up the Ancient Cave, that's going to be where you spend most of your time, both learning and crying. So check out the Ancient Cave Discord.
That was a great plug. I was not expecting it to go there. I must say.
I have to tell you, I'm a marketer for a living.
That makes sense. So looking at the points breakdown here, we got a couple different categories. If someone wants to type exclamation point points, I think is the command in chat. You can see a breakdown of all the points. There are a bunch of points for your party makeup. So bringing, one of the girls, both of the girls, none of the girls, guy, arty, all kinds of party combinations there, as well as the capsule monsters. So we're going to be seeing probably, let me see what we got here. We have a generic any percent party in Travatox. We have Sealan instead of Guy for Sinister Rain, and we'll see what everybody else has in a second when they get into a battle. But basically, I'm assuming since most of the D-rando seeds have been pretty generous in terms of items, that you'll probably see a potential jelly kill from hopefully everybody, regardless of party setup, unless they bring something like totally ridiculous, which I don't think people are doing in the finals. But yeah, so there's those, and then we also have a bunch of other points for floors, which we'll kind of go over before or as we get to them. Don't really matter this early on, and then a bunch of enemy point incentives. So again, the points command was put in right there. Just go ahead and check it out if you want to know kind of what people are looking for as they go down the cave. The early floors are pretty easy, so we won't have to really worry too much about people dying or like missing stuff. It's kind of just cruise and pick up items for now.
Right, and I saw some low-level spells get picked up, and a dark mirror for X Pancras. Those vortex spells are going to be really handy on the first 11, 12, and 13, because those low-level spells pretty much ensure that if you can get cores to stay, that you'll beat them and get those levels.
Yeah, the tier 2 spells especially are like so nice to get early, because even if you can't get cores or something, or you're trying to play extra safe, they pretty much wipe everything early on. So it's really,
Right.
really nice to get those early. So everyone's probably pretty happy at that.
No question. And it's Vortex is the one that I saw, so that's going to be Antari's backup strats friendly. Our runners don't get cores. And now a lot of this has been de-randomized, as in the rando people know where treasures are, but monsters have not been de-randomized. So everybody will encounter the same monsters, but monster activities, monster behavior once they're engaged or inside the room is completely different random for every player.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to point out real quick is shout outs to Real Critical for coming up with this beautiful little point tracker we have here. He also is the one that kind of coded the de-randomizer. And as he always says, the Ancient Cave is Lufia 2's built-in randomizer. He's really happy to always point that out to everybody. So I wanted to make sure to give a little shout out to him in case he's not here.
Yeah, and now whether or not that shout out is so that we can all be grateful or so that we all know who to write our angry letters to, that is listener discretion.
Yeah, I just send all my angry letters to him regardless. Sometimes if it has nothing to do with Lufia 2, like I'm just at work or something mad, write an angry letter, mail it to RC.
Eva RPG noticed that the winner of the wild card is not playing. That's absolutely true. Eve was not able to make it for the second round. So sitting in on Eve's behalf is Mike 34, who's the second place in the wild card round.
Yeah, so Eve was helping test the D-Rando seeds before, and it turned out, I don't know if this came about after the wild cards finished or what, but she apparently had already played the seed that we are watching right now, so she didn't think it would be very fair to wipe the floor with all these people. So
I didn't hear that story, but let that be just a testament to the level of sportspersonship that you get from Ancient Cave players and why this is where I spend most of my time online.
Yeah, everybody's pretty great around here. But one thing I will say is that even though Mike didn't win the wild cards, he got second place and is moving up. Mike is still obviously one of the top runners in this game, so we should still be seeing like a great finals going forward here.
We've got a chain of blame RC. Okay. Whatever makes you happy. We are gonna blame RC.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, if there's one thing I know, it's that we blame RC. And also that RC loves randomizers, especially the Ancient Cave.
We're on core floors and it looks like everybody's getting at least one or two. I'm intrigued at how few players have brought Darby. Darby's such a sure bet.
I think that kind of goes back a little bit to what I was saying is I don't know if this is the mentality that everyone has, but I think everyone is kind of assuming that they're going to get, Decker Blade at some point, maybe a Gades Blade or a Lizard Blow. I think everybody's expecting that there's probably the items they need to kill the jelly in here, so they're thinking maybe the bad capsule monsters that give you a lot of extra points might be the move here.
That's why we're seeing them so much. And that's going to be a point of debate for our next Fatal Blowout is whether or not that's in the spirit of the game. I'm on the fence myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing. I would say as long as everybody hasn't played the seeds before, but I will also say that I think we're gonna see a great a great amount of jelly kills this time, which we don't normally see in the regular cave, which is also a nice thing about the D-Rando is we vet these seeds, we see that there are good items going around, there are, not impassable rooms for the most part for most people. And
Right.
like it is cool to see the original cave in its vanilla glory, but at the same time we want to see that jelly die, so.
No question. I have to say, in the second round last week, it was so exciting to see all runners make it to the jelly and 4 out of 5 kills.
Yeah, see, that's not something that normally happens because sometimes, I mean, when you look at people that like run any percent in general, the cave sometimes is just unbeatable. Like sometimes you can even get to the jelly, but there was just never a Decker blade or never, this or that you needed. So running it not with the D-Rando is, cool and all, but I want to see jelly kills, so I'm definitely glad we're making sure there's some stuff in there for everybody to use.
No question. I guess there have definitely been, Hoppy the Fool, there have been no runs ended by Blue Mimic Corridor so far.
Also,
as far as I know.
Delicious Crepes is asking how do the finals work. So basically, all runners are running on the same seed, which means that for the most part, everything is the same. All the floor layouts are the same. All of the monster battles are the same, with the exception of like maybe what moves they use in the battle. All the chest contents, all that stuff. And then if you type in exclamation point, or I'll do it right here, points. That right there, that little link will get you a list of all of the point incentives that everybody is trying to achieve. And the highest points at the end of 2 hours is the winner of the finals.
I'm having a little trouble here. Maybe you can help me. It looks like Alison is down the middle there, and Mike is top right. Those are really close shades of blue.
Oh, yeah. So Mike is top right. Eli's in the middle, bottom right there. Mike's more of like a purple.
Mike just grabbed the Gady's blade, and it looks like he's going to hold on to it. There is a point incentive to drop the Gady's blade the instant you get it.
Yeah, so unless someone's not taking... Oh, wait, never mind. Here we go. Bottom right here, X Pancras is feeding
dropping
it.
Right away.
I was literally just about to say that too. Like, if you don't have Guy, you kind of need to drop the Gady's blade anyway, unless you don't find Decker blade. But as we were saying before, since it's D-Randoed and these seeds are vetted, there's probably going to be at least one Decker blade in here. So yeah, there's that point incentive that I was just about to say no one's probably going to take, and then he took it right there. So
on the spot.
So I'm assuming, I think everyone is about to be past cores now, and it's looking like everyone probably got some.
I think everyone got at least 2. Yes, this is the actual last run. The winner of this is the King Jelly Slayer for the year. Should I say patron Jelly Slayer for the year?
Yeah, winner gets to live, as Rocket says. So yeah, again, we're not seeing anything too crazy early on. The cave is pretty much just a bunch of enemies that at most will annoy you early on, but as we get closer to the 30s and 40s, we're going to run into the monsters that you don't really want to see ever. But until then, everybody's just kind of taking it slow, just warming up their movement, opening all the chests that they can, and hopefully also finding healing spells and revive spells going forward. I haven't actually been keeping track of everyone's spells, but do we have any healing yet?
Haven't seen any heals. Ufail says it's quite a title, that make that on business cards with that title. And you know what? I don't see any reason why Ancient Cave Shenanigans should not be on your resume.
I would like to point out, if anybody is watching X Pancras here, every time they walk up to a blue chest, they do like a double spin around. And I gotta say, that's just the kind of showmanship I'm looking for in my fatal blowouts, you know?
No question.
Exactly. There's always time for swag, as Shadow Killer says. We got a catfish jewel up there too for Mike. Mike, that is probably the worst item you can find.
It's not super helpful. Not very much. Some jewel is better than no jewel.
Okay,
Sinister Ring got his Gady's blade.
Traffic Talks also got their Gady's blade, and no one except for Pancras has dropped it, which makes me think, or have they? I actually didn't see if Sinister dropped theirs or not.
I don't think so. Beautiful says that the engage ring is the worst item that you can find. That really depends on your circumstances. I have definitely won a round with 1 point gained from engage ring before, so it's really
yes,
just
the Lord of the Rings version, yes.
That was
so
it.
I guess technically, yeah, engage ring is the worst in like a standard any percent speed run. In things like the main game or ROM hacks, which obviously have, you know, I guess I'm kind of reaching here by mentioning that, but in things like that, the engage ring is actually incredible because it makes everything cheaper to buy, which is pretty good if you're trying to kill like the egg dragon or whatever else costs money in the main game. I don't really remember, to be honest. Something with coins.
Everything does. Now, we're finally to the point now where in the 20s, where you're starting to see some of your real monster movement showcases. We've got snakes, which move in a certain pattern. Bees will end your run at this point and have a seemingly chaotic pattern. There are just a lot of things here, and we're seeing in the top right, Mike is moving those snakes around to manage encounters. From this point on, you're going to see a lot of interesting movement and monster movement manipulation.
Another thing too is that I think we're going to see a lot of people go for these like full treasure room clears in terms of the chests as much as they can, because if anyone was watching the last round, the wildcard round, there were multiple lizard blows inside of party rooms. So they're kind of thinking maybe the people that vetted these seeds kind of maybe hid the Decker blade or something in one of these treasure rooms. So they're definitely not going to try and pass up any possible chest that they can get early on. I think it's going to also probably lead to people scrambling near the end, maybe if they're not quite close to floor 99 as the time gets close to 2 hours, but we'll see.
Yep, that's exactly right. We'll see. Now, there have actually been some very sticky situations through here, and as far as clearing floors goes, there's actually a point incentive for full clear on floor 42. That would be all treasures and all monsters.
Yeah, so hopefully hopefully that's not too crazy of a floor. Floor 42, I guess, doesn't really have crazy monsters that are going to end your run, so that's nice. But if it's a massive party floor or something, that could take a lot of time from the runners.
That's exactly right. I think it's put in there as a potential time sink, because there again, if you're the first to floor 50, you also get points.
Oh yeah, true. I guess you could weigh that as you got there, assuming everybody else is maybe trying to clear it. You could say, yeah, no, this is going to take too long, so I'll just run to 50. They are kind of right next to each other.
Right, but the runners have to make that decision blind. So because this is de-randomized, runners are not watching each other's feeds. They're not watching the streams. They're not watching the comments here from all of you.
Yeah, and honestly, I understand why it used to be the other way. in the older Fatal Blowouts, but I really like it more like this. It's just kind of more of a spirit of, fairness and sportsmanship and stuff. So like we're getting a truly, hopefully, as even playing field as we can get in the cave.
You just have such a minuscule attention span. I never watched other people's runs anyway. My worst enemy in the cave is actually my patience, my attention span. That's why I'm always so amazed to see runners who can sit in a doorway as long as they have to move dragons or whatever else, because it's that patience that just is really the showcase for me.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience that even though it looks like people are patient when they're waiting for dragons to move, we are all screaming internally every time that happens. It's the worst.
Sometimes not so internally.
Yeah, that's true too.
I've definitely heard words for the first time ever watching Ancient Cave speedrunners.
Yeah, I think that's also just kind of the nature of anything that anything that you're speed running that has a massive element of RNG in it, which is, I mean, that's just on us at the end of the day, I guess, right?
No doubt. Absolutely no doubt.
So Mike, okay. He's doing what we were saying earlier. He's clearing as much of the room as he can, except he was doing it a little bit less methodically and almost got wiped from it. So hopefully he has some revives in his pocket.
So very lucky that those bees went to the left and not right up into his face.
So I'm not exactly sure what floor everyone's on. The only thing I'm positive of is that Chavik Tox is not yet at 21. Everyone else has passed into the dungeon tile set, but there he is. He's at 21. But one thing that we're gonna start looking for coming up is farming for. Everybody's gonna be looking for cancer rocks. They can spawn a little bit earlier than 36 with the actual cancer sprite, but 36 I believe is the first floor that Garbosts start spawning, which is where everybody's probably going to go out of their way to farm those, because not only is that a point incentive, but it's a great item to kill a jelly with.
Yes, and here we have Ellie clearing that same route that Mike almost died in, much more methodically. Getting greedy, though. Pincer between bees. I wonder what's going to happen here. Oh, lucky RNG!
It's kind of beautiful seeing like 400,000 monsters all like packed at the bottom of the room.
Right. No kidding. Definitely a bit of a thrill.
Yeah, and as Hoppy says, Garbosts, not only do they drop Cancer Rock, which is good for points and good for the jelly, it's just an all-around good item, but they also give you a decent amount of XP as you go into assassins and then ninjas, which are both enemies that you hope don't spawn, but we'll see.
Exactly, and many speedrunners will actually skip blue cores, which pop right before the Garbosts, and since they really want that cancer rock for jelly kill, they'll just level off of Garbosts instead. Now, up in the top right, Mike is fighting crabs and drill shells. I think actually they drill shell you. I don't think that's what they're actually called.
I think, they're drill shells, right? I believe. Yeah, drill shell.
I don't know, but it feels better if we're both wrong. And he got the confused ball instead of the cancer rock. But that's a mob combo that can drop the cancer rock.
Yeah, so this is the one I was. I'm not exactly sure what floor these show up on, but these are the earlier versions that can give you the cancer rock. It's instead of 20%, it's like 15% or something drop rate. But these are also a nice experience because none of these are really going to kill you, especially as we see. We have fire spells, which are for some reason really strong against water enemies in this game. I don't really understand why the elements are like they are in this game, but fire strong against water, lightning strong against ground. It's kind of like the reverse Pokemon rule.
Right? And now as you're seeing groups where there are a collection of mobs, it's actually the drill shells that drop the confuse ball. So you'll see runners target the crabs first, and it's just because you can only get one treasure per fight, and the first treasure rolled that drops is the one that you get. So they'll target the one that they want, the drop that they want, and take those mobs out first.
So, Ex Pancras here just got Decker Blade, and again, it was in a treasure room, so that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Everybody's going to be kind of trying to go through these treasure rooms looking for these items that we're hoping to get for the jelly. And also, I don't know what floor he's on exactly, but he's fighting blue cores, so it's between 32 and 34.
Right.
But yeah, so early Decker Blade is really good for multiple reasons. One, when you get it this early, you can just actually use it because it does decent damage, and also you don't have to frantically search later on looking for it as the time gets a little bit closer.
Exactly. You'll definitely notice runners run differently the closer they get to a sure kill. No fire jewel drop.
Oh yeah, the hounds. I forgot about this one too. The hounds drop those, huh?
Jewels. Yep, hounds drop flame jewels. Well, hounds can drop flame jewels.
Yeah. So back to the points we were talking about earlier. There were like the Cancer Rock is 5 points. Hedora Rock is 5 points. 10 points if you get an Earth Thundo or Flame Jewel or Gorgon Rock. So I guess runners will be looking for hounds. This slipped my mind that they even dropped it.
Mm-hmm. Wait and see that pop up. Let me see. Ellie down at the bottom is now doing his hopefully easy Cancer Rock drop. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I must have just been super unlucky in my run, but there was something in the back of my head that was saying that the D-Rando messed with the drop rates of these, because I killed like 400 different things that drop jewels and never got one. And I don't see anyone getting jewels yet, so even though... Oh, nope, never mind. Eli just got a Cancer Rock. But
excellent. Way to go.
There's just that, that like bias in my brain that's trying to tell me that that's true, even though it's not.
I don't know that it's true, because I consistently, even on the typical ones, don't get any drops.
Yeah, I guess there's just no drops anyway, so it's probably not the random.
Right, it just doesn't happen anyway. It's a myth.
The first big obstacle, which if you're seeing someone on blue cores, they're already past it, but the first big obstacle, which we're not seeing, I guess probably would have noticed it, is 29 to 31 is where blue mimics spawn, so I'm guessing we did not get a blue mimic seed here. And then after that is the assassins, which aren't too scary, but they will take up a lot of time if you have to fight a couple of those, and those are going to be on 37 to 39. So that should be coming up here pretty soon for most of these runners.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to talk about useless items, I think fry pans might actually be worse than engage rings, because engage ring, at least you can feed.
Yeah, fry pan's interesting even in the main game, because Tia starts with it or something, and they also sell it, but like no one else can use it. It's like the most useless item in the game, actually. I don't even know why it's in the shop. But yeah. C-Ring, though, however, is a very good item, I would say, which Eli just found.
Excellent.
One of the things that we're looking for here also is, in case we have to fight things like Archfiends or Copper Dragons and stuff, we want agility, which the C-Ring gives us a nice little agility boost. And since it's in a blue chest, that means it's also a pretty expensive item. So if it comes down to it, we can feed that later on as well.
Right, and I did see on the Ellison's screen, I did see a blue mimic. It looks like none of our runners are taking the chance for those points, which makes sense.
I don't blame them. Yeah, that's.
Pankraz really trying to avoid that Garbost fight.
Did they already get a cancer? They must have already gotten a cancer rock.
Must have.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if I would personally avoid them, even if I already had a cancer rock, because we were saying earlier, it's a nice experience going into these next floors, which can be a little tricky.
Right, and Minnie Lily says that blue mimics can wipe a prepared 100% party, and that is absolutely true.
Yeah, Frenzy is one of the most devastating things in the game. It's an AoE that just has such high attack power that you can be over leveled with decent armor, and it'll still just, if you get enough of them, you'll die no matter what. I'm assuming that they put blue mimics in the game kind of as a gear check to like force you to Providence out over and over casually and get a bunch of blue items and stuff, but we don't do that obviously in speedrunning, so.
Right.
So yeah, they're pretty. They can be pretty devastating. Most of the time, they're fine because they're usually either not in your way or you can scrape by them without dying. But there are times when they're on the stairs, which I guess we're lucky that someone wasn't sadistic enough to give us that seed.
Thunder for Sinister Rain. Thunder is a tier. Wait, what tier is that spell?
Thunder is tier 3.
Thank you. It's definitely an anti-jelly spell.
It's the strongest of the tier 3s besides Zap, which is an already exclusive one. So it's basically the best damage spell for the jelly that you can get.
There's a Decker Blade for the Ellison.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Decker Blade is not only in a treasure room, like on the outside of a treasure room, so you can grab it without going deep. It's also in a treasure room with cores, so everyone's going to be exploring that room anyway. So I'm going to assume that everybody will get that Decker Blade.
Right. Looks like everybody's got some good feeding materials with those magic fruits.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I need to go back and see what capsule people are using, because I'm assuming at the very least for the non-Darby users, they're mostly going to try and be getting the M form. So I think since we have at least 2 gustos, that's Earth Fruit, which drops from Tartonas or something. I don't actually remember. But we're going to be seeing people farm for that, I can almost guarantee, coming up here shortly.
Well into the 30s. It looks like everybody's into the 30s now. And just neck and neck, everybody's at 32, 33. I have to see that for sure, because I know I've already seen these things on Pankraz's screen. I want to see how far ahead he is.
Yeah, I think everyone's definitely slowing down at the 32 to 34, because when you're at a marathon, you don't want to miss blue cores if you can help it.
Looks like he's on 37.
So Pankraz is in the start of the assassin floors, so hopefully we won't see too many of those, if any.
Right, and he's brave to just walk into those rooms that way. Plants on the top right. Green plants are another one that they'll single target and get multiple hits on a single target. It's another one that if you're forced to engage with them multiple times, can end your run.
Yeah, they do. I think they're kind of the beginning of where damage starts really ramping up on some of the enemies. So
First heal strong.
You definitely. Oh, Silver Sword also. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's
people are gonna be getting. We're gonna be getting their jelly stuff pretty early. It's looking like Silver Sword's great for Maxim. It's a 3x, which will also be good if you're forced to fight undead stuff like leeches or archfiends or whatever. So
Green clays and behemoths, right, Mini Lily. And so we saw everybody on our left-hand side trying to farm green clays early on.
oh, that's what that is. Yeah, I can never remember. I never run Gusto, so I don't actually know what drops as fruits. But
Right.
yeah, that makes sense.
Looks like Voodoofs is actually hoarding all of the earth fruits. So now we know. The bottom left-hand corner, Sinister Rain tiptoeing through this room going after cores. Cores can't really, well, they can kill you. They can't really end your run, but they can lead you into the face of things that will kill you.
Yeah, they the only time they ever really end your run is when your run was kind of already doomed anyway, so you don't have to usually worry about them. Though no cores later on, if you're underleveled enough, they can actually end your run. Surprisingly. But I don't think anybody's going to be underleveled enough to where that's going to happen.
No, definitely not. And it looks like it's a little bit brutal that the first heal spell is on floor, 39?
Yeah.
Especially with the point incentive to drop your potions early on. And I'm not sure anyone did, but gee, oh boy.
Yeah, I will say though that at least it's not after ninjas, because being basically after assassins kind of sucked, but being after ninjas would be horrible.
No kidding. No kidding.
So we see X-Pancras here is in the cave tile set now, which extends from floor 41 to 98. And this is basically where the cave kind of really gets hard for the rest of the run. There are a couple, places where you can breathe easy, but in general, all the hard stuff is from here on out.
There's a Decker Blade for Travatox. Yeah, by breathe easy, those are really the times that you want to take to gear up as much as you can, because there are many things later on in the cave, the further you get, the more prevalent they are, that will just end you, and it doesn't matter how prepared you are.
Eli using the assassin tech right there, where you technically beat them by like a frame to the door, and then don't have to fight them, even though you would if you went a little slower. So that's pretty cool to see.
Kidding. Most runners on these floors will hang out in the doorway, run in place for a minute to draw those assassins, and ninjas have the same movement, to draw them up to where you can see them.
Yeah, it's usually so you can like guarantee a 50-50 on them, because they'll like run sideways into the door. But I have definitely, at least myself, stopped doing that as much, because you'd be surprised how often you can actually beat them to like the stairs or the next room or something if you just kind of YOLO it and beat them.
That's true too. Keba, personally, I don't mess with leeches for any reason if I don't have to. Definitely not for a 1% drop. And if you're speed running this, if you're going for an any percent or an any percent sub 1, say, you definitely just don't want to waste that time. If you are that hard up for jelly kill items, you're probably not going to get anything out of that run anyway.
The other thing about Old Sword from Leeches is that it's a 2% drop rate, which is pretty, or 1%, Shadow saying, it's like 1 or 2%. It's so low that I've only ever even seen it like twice in my life. It's ridiculously low, so it's not really something you can ever kind of bank on.
No way. Definitely not if you're running for time.
Yeah, plus they're not that difficult to get like a surprise attack on, but they're also not that they're not that easy to, because they kind of move every other step or whatever they do when they get near you. So
whatever you can do with leeches, it's easier for them to kill you.
Yeah, it's just best to avoid them at all costs.
Mike 34 up in the top right corner is feeding his Darby. Probably trying to get to Form 3 because Form 3 is having an extra deadly.
Yeah, Form 3 Darby is absolutely great for the cave. It takes a little extra time versus the other stuff, but I mean, we have 2 hours here, so it's definitely a good thing to have.
Right. And so if you've been watching this and you've been wondering, at what point should I think about entering a cave tournament? We have 2 different tournaments every year. One is couples is not the right word for this. It's partners. One is a partners, and it's couples in my head because I usually play as part of a couple. But one is partner and one is single. This is our single. If you're wondering, how much practice should I put into this? When do I know I'm ready for entering a tournament? Really, the answer is if you can get to the jelly consistently under 2 hours, and consistently is like 20% of the time.
And to be honest, even if you can't, you can still sign up. We're not gonna stop you if you want to run and have fun. That's basically all we're here for. So
Exactly.
there's tons of new runners. There's tons of old runners. Everybody's just here to have fun. So if you want to sign up for anything, go over to the AC Discord, which is just linked in chat right there, and introduce yourself, and we'll teach you the ropes.
No question. And yeah, again, Pancras is actually very new. What's great about the point incentives in these is that it evens out the playing field. So you're not just running for time. As a matter of fact, if you're running for speed, you're probably not going to win. It's really the point incentives that make all the difference. And I've seen people make it to the next level in tournaments and not make it past the 40s. Just clearing all the point incentives. It just depends on how the points are laid out on any given year.
Yeah, and another thing that we have been trying to improve upon every year is that we try to gear the point incentives to be more and more aimed at like making sure you kill the jelly. So we're not gonna we try to take stuff out that like kind of keeps you from killing the jelly that we've had in previous years. So if you're a new runner, you're just going for some of the point incentives, you'd be surprised how often you would end up just having the stuff you need anyway. And 2 hours, honestly, just with a little bit of practice is enough time to get to the jelly. So
X Pancras did a great job of setting up his ninja fight to get a 50-50, but not get that 50-50. So they ended up going first and started out with a double knife thrower.
Ooh.
There it is again.
Yeah,
Will end your run.
That right there is probably one of the most overpowered things that enemies can do to you in the entire cave. Like based on where they come in, you're not really strong enough to survive multiple knife throwers with almost any party by the time you get to them. So that's one of the things that they probably overlooked a little bit when designing the ancient cave all those years ago.
Could be. But I just really want to draw attention to how beautifully he maneuvered, getting not one, but 2 sets that I saw of ninjas into that corner and setting himself up as best as possible, and just did not get the 50-50, did not win.
Yeah, so like that's just a testament to how kind of cruel they are. Is honestly, he did everything right. Basically, up to that point, he was set up in every way as perfectly as possible, and it didn't matter because they decided to knife throw her. So that is very unfortunate. But I will say he does have enough time to come back because he knows where things are. So anything can happen. Exactly. He's not out yet.
Exactly. Now, what it means to win a 50-50, I realize I'm using some lingo here, is if you get a surprise attack on a monster, then you get 1 free round. Of course, the same can happen to you. You can get back attack or surprise attacked by a monster and lose a round. They get 1 free round. But in that case, he moved them up, set them up so that he could have 1 free round and just did not win the roll. So there's a 50% chance of getting that back attack when you get to the side of something, and he just did not get it. So did everything right. I'll be actually clipping and studying that movement. Improve my own game.
Oh, Eli just realizing right at the last second that he took one too many steps in the wrong direction.
That's right, Max Frost. Everybody is going to run into that dual ninja pair, or at least everyone will have a chance to run into that dual ninja pair. So that's the cool thing about the de-randomizers. You really get to see, regardless of who wins, you get to see how different players handle different situations. And there is an ancient cave strategy show called Decision Point. Not Boiling Point, Decision Point, where they're going to go through and they're going to break down all the minutia of all of these movements and really weigh the benefits and cost analysis of each different thing. And I'm sure that the ninja encounters are going to be part of that.
Is it really called Decision Point? I thought it was called Point Break.
No, Breaking Point, that's just how we feel playing it. I'm pretty sure it's Decision Point. It's got to be Decision Point, or so it's Decision Point is C and Mike 34, and if I've got this wrong, I'm gonna be in trouble. Whatever the case, drop into the Ancient Cave Discord and somebody will tell you if it's not Decision Point.
Also, as we see Eli right here about to fight some cores, for those of you that don't understand what cores are, they're fairly easy enemies that give you way too much experience, so they're kind of like great for a speed run. If you've ever played the game Dragon King or whatever that has the slimes, it's kind of like those. So basically, we're trying to get as many cores as we can. You can see Pancras over here fighting them as well.
Pretty sure it's Decision Point. Yeah, I think so too.
I think it's Point Break with Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves just keeps coming up. There's got to be a movie coming out soon. Hopefully it's the next John Wick. We'll see.
They actually just announced yesterday that he is going to be in Constantine 2, which is going to be very interesting.
What? All right.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about being distractible. I am very distractible.
I mean, I'm ready for that movie. That's all I gotta say.
I'm also ready for that movie. It's been like 20 years. Don't sleep on Patrick Swayze. Hey, now we're going into uncomfortable territory now. Ice Valk for Travatox. Max Pancras is already back up to core floors, taking out cores. I mean, just running through the cave because exactly, he already knows where everything he needs is at.
He died at like 45 minutes too, so he got to cores in like literally 5 or less minutes, it feels like. So yeah, and then I think he's probably gonna recognize what room the Decker Blade is when he gets back to it and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely, if there's ever a time to catch back up after death, it is in a D-rando where you know what the cave is giving you. So
Right, exactly. I saw that, Ari. We're gonna have a talk. Nobody puts baby in a corner. I always just assume that it's like a round table joke. Roadhouse is definitely better than Dirty Dancing. Right. Back to the cave.
oh, Roadhouse.
No, back to the cave. Texas, Tia, and Gusto. Yes, that is absolutely taunting the cave. Although I've seen quite a few really good, I mean, if there is such a thing, good Lexus gear. I guess there was a heal on floor 2 that only Ellie got. I'm assuming that's not the lab coat, but the only other heal I saw before like 39 was a lab coat. So that's an IP heal. We haven't talked about IP, have we?
No, we haven't.
All right, go, man, go. Tell them about it.
We never will. I'm just kidding.
Okay, no.
So basically, if you look at the bars at the bottom of the screen, the blue one is HP below all the characters. The green one's their magic points, and then there's the other one, IP, which as a kid I thought was item points and might as well be, but it stands for Ikari points, or like rage points. And when you get hit, you build these points up, and then you can use special abilities that are tied to the items that you get. So earlier we mentioned we want to find items like Decker Blade or Myth Blade or Gades Blade and stuff. And that's because these items have the special IP ability that is, do way too much damage in one hit. or do a bunch of hits at once. And these are the things we want for the jelly at the end of the game, because if you are unfamiliar with the jelly, you only get 3 turns to kill him, and he has a lot of HP. So that's Ikari points.
Right, and so that's actually exactly why these are interesting. So the Decker Blade isn't actually that strong, and most people won't actually use it during really any point during the run, but it does a percentage of your opponent's total hit points. That's the kind of damage that IP skills can do.
Yeah, basically the kind of stuff we're looking for is like percent HP damage or like fractional damage. So Decker Blade will do half of their current HP in one hit. And there's a variance to it, but in general, it's like half their HP. Actually, we're finding Eli facing off against that same group of ninjas that killed Pancras here. So let's hope we don't get knife throwers here.
Exactly.
Oh, he had the 50-50 though, so I think
there are 2. Now, why were people fighting Minotaurs? Minotaurs. I don't actually know if Minotaurs do drop Gorgon rocks. I don't think so.
They do not. They are fairly easy to kill, and they aren't going to really threaten you that much. So maybe they're killing them for HP. Or XP, I mean. The other thing would be if they're on floor 42.
First ninja fight down. He's got to get this second one up here. There, he did. Same thing. And he got in first. So that's the difference. That's where the random comes in. He just happened to win that 50-50. Same deal. Did an amazing job putting himself in the best possible position to win and took advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what floor Eli's on either. I think hopefully this is 46, because ninjas go from 44 to 46. Great. And we want to be past them as soon as possible, because after ninjas there's a fairly decent amount of floors that you don't really worry about dying to if you have decent enough movement around these enemies. So
Mike taking the same fight and running. Bad news though, Mike.
Oh no, Mike. They're coming for you.
So if you missed it, the stairs are in that room. There's another one down below. Under the right circumstances, he could get them stuck in that door and potentially manipulate a 50-50 that way, but there's another one in the doorway down below that got activated, so at least one of these, this first one. And his Maxim is dead.
Yeah.
Mike got here by taking second place in the wild card round, and the reason he's here instead of Eve is because Eve is an excellent sport, and as someone who tested out some of these seeds before, she recognized the seed and didn't play. I just learned during this play. So cool.
Oh, are we gonna kill him with the Gades blade up here?
That's what it looks like.
So Mike still has to fight at least one more pair. Did you say the stairs were above or are they below?
They're above. Yep.
Okay, so the one more.
Other pair. But can set himself up for a 50-50 if he's resourceful. And one thing about Mike is he is absolutely one of the best players in this game. No, he did not pay me to say that, but yes, I will be bringing it up later. One of the best players of this game, so he's actually really resourceful.
Yeah, I think what he's doing here too is pretty interesting. So he's fighting the other one now?
Oh my gosh, he could have had that. He could have gone up and had that 50-50.
So he had just enough IP to use Gades Blade, which is Octo Strike IP, on with Decker. And double knife thrower.
Oh no.
If he doesn't kill Guy, he should be okay. Yeah. So Guy's gonna do an octo strike right now, which should kill them all. Well, he needs to hit the one on the right, because come on, hit the one on the right. There we go. So another thing about this game is that the enemies are in front and back rows, kind of like your party is. Enemies in the front row take more damage and deal more damage, and enemies in the back row take less damage and deal less damage. So right there, he was kind of hitting one of the back row ones over and over while there was still a front row one alive, and it was reducing his overall damage output. But he gets through. The problem, though, is that now I don't know what revive. Oh, he has miracles. Okay, so he has miracles. He has no IP to use anything anymore, though. So
In the top left, Travatox is now managing the same room. Darn, I wasn't paying attention to Sinister and I wanted to see if he got that twist jewel. Oh, really surprise attack.
oh, knife thrower. Oh, his Decker is tanky though.
Stacked,
I think
no doubt.
he's fine. Yeah. I didn't realize his Decker was just so beefy.
Travatox taking his first fight with these guys, I think. We'll see here in a second. Ooh, that's a scary spot to be stuck with these guys. For Ellison.
Okay, so I'm finally going to figure out whether or not that crazy room is on 46 or not. That was. Okay, so once you beat that ninja room, that's the end of ninjas, which is great. They're both very happy right now. And Sinister, we said Sinister's in the same room, right? That's what he's fighting right here?
Yep, Sinister just made it, and Travatox just cleared it.
Okay, so that's good news. Really unfortunate for Pancras to kind of get all of the knife throwers, but the fact that everyone else survived is good news, because those guys, they could have killed all 5 players, to be honest. They are that crazy. The Dark Mirror makes it a little bit better, but
The Fatal Pick, Pancras is going to make it through probably even faster. There are some items in this game, there are some weapons that have a percentage just insta-kill any enemy. Without IP.
So, yeah, the deadlies, we call them, which are... We say that they're essential to going fast, but honestly, the most essential thing to going fast is just to not have to kill anything. But when you do, which is most of the time, you want to have that insta-death stuff on there. And people will tell you that the Deadly Rod or the Deadly Sword or the Fatal Pick have an 80% chance to instant kill. This is actually not true. It's a 50% chance to instant kill, because it either instant kills or it doesn't. So, it's basically 50-50. And that's just how all statistics work.
All of them. Ellie is in stunt mode. So down here, one of the point incentives is to get surprise attacked by Sirens and listen to their greatest hits. Unfortunately, their greatest hits can stun lock you while they beat you to death. Ellie has already encountered this Siren, wiped out the rest of her party, and is now stun locked.
Yeah, so how many points is this for?
I think it's 10 points.
I don't know if I would if I would go for that. It can you can be here for a long time sometimes.
Exactly. And then you have a situation like what just happened here where, fortunately he attacked the Siren, but Axum is awake and confused and can just attack anyone. When that happens to a deadly holder, you can wipe out your party.
Yeah. Another thing that I will say about these Sirens is they're not gonna kill you usually, especially if you wipe out the stuff that comes with them like Eli did, but like you don't want to You don't want to fight them normally ever because they can do this. With a point incentive, it's kind of trolly to fight them still, but
Right.
yeah, they can just keep you stun locked. There's clips of people being stun locked for minutes and minutes in any percent runs that just it's not fun.
Another tough situation for Mike. Fortunately, these the sprite that he's dealing with is giants and not, say, Archfiends.
Yeah, Archfiends, which will be coming up on floor something to something. They're there for a while. I don't remember which floors they are, but they're there for a long time, and they are, for the most part, the final major roadblock of
Down
the
and
cave.
left, Sinister's in the same room, and it looks okay. Trav is in a different room. Sinister
Ooh.
got around and oh goodness gracious, Sinister got around and out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Yeah, luckily these Haiti chariots aren't too bad. They can take a while to kill though because they are immune to deadlies. So deadly attacks are great, except that most undead, or all undead, I guess, are completely immune to them. So.
Okay. And now I guess I learned just last week, these guys actually have really low magic defense. So when you smack them around with the heal spell or a res spell, they champion. They don't take it very well.
Yeah, that is the other thing too. So they're immune to instant death, but undead take damage from healing spells, like that. I was gonna say like that game Dragon Quest, but I actually have never played that game and don't know anything about that game, so I'm gonna not claim that that's how it works in that game.
Avatox in the top left, taking in the greatest hits, and fortunately, Travatox Maxim is awake and unconfused, so he was able to run away and get that point much more easily than Ellie's luck gave him. And just down on the bottom left, gosh, these folks are neck and neck. On the bottom left, Sinister Rain is going for the same point. And see how they go and they engage, they try to win that 50-50 and take out the other monsters. If you get surprised or stun locked and that armor data is with them, you're probably just going to get beat down to death.
Yeah, that's the actual scary part about these fights, is that they come with those monsters that do a lot of damage. So the Sirens themselves don't really do anything except stun lock you. They occasionally can like punch you or something maybe, but the armor dates are, yeah, those you do not want.
Mike 34 got the first half of this strat apparently and is now stun locked by not one but two Sirens.
I will say that there is potentially, I don't think this is fixed in this patched D-Rando thing, but if an enemy dies to poison, which Mike's Wolf Punch is poisoning these guys, the game soft locks and your run's over.
What?
So if there's any monster that you're gonna have die to poison because you're stun locked the whole time, it's gonna be maybe these. And I think he realizes that now. I assume he must realize that that's a possibility that's coming up right here, and it's let's just say, let's hope that someone wakes up, because we don't want these guys dying to poison.
No kidding, but that is a feat that I have never seen. That's a little bit epic.
Yeah, there's some there's a lot of like ROM hacks and patches and stuff that fix some of the problems in the code like that, but in general, I'm assuming this is the same as vanilla. I don't think that stuff's fixed in this, so.
Thank you, Tia. No kidding, Shadow Killer.
Yeah, Tia saving the day as always.
There's some debate around that, whether or not Tia is always saving the day.
Well, for those that have played the much superior remake Curse of the Sinistral, Tia definitely is always saving the day.
Gotcha. They got a second chance.
I'm sure everybody agrees with me on that.
I'm sure. It definitely helps that no one can argue with you right now.
That's true.
Definitely helps.
And why would they? You know, I'm just spitting facts.
Okay, apparently Solana's a murderer.
Oh yeah, Hoppy pointing out here. There's a couple weird interactions that softlock the game. So if an enemy kills themselves with mirror and they had another action coming, so Archfiends and Leeches, if they kill themselves with the first of their two abilities off of your mirror, the game also softlocks, which is one of the main reasons, I guess probably the only reason, that people don't use mirror on Archfiends, because honestly, Archfiends wouldn't be too crazy if you just mirrored your party. But yeah, you don't want to soft lock, so we don't do that anymore.
Incraz is back up to the 40s already.
Yeah, there's still 50 minutes left, or over 50 minutes left, so definitely enough time to come back on that one.
Definitely. I heard the standing around Pankraz is just your all-around gamer, but seeing how he's taken on this tournament and how little time he's been learning it or practicing in the cave, definitely fewer than 6 months. I am personally very impressed.
We got Chirok Talks up in the top left, farming Sea Hedoras and Sinister Rain also. These are the first monsters that drop the Hedora rock, which everybody's going to be looking for. It not only does it give you 5 points because of the tournament, but it is one of the hands down best items for the jelly, because it turns any high attack weapon into it makes it hit 3 times in one of the turns. So everybody's going to be looking for that.
Absolutely,
in order to help them kill the jelly.
You have to get that back attack without question, because these plants that are with them will confuse everyone. The Sea Hedoras hit really hard multiple times.
Yeah,
the other mob that can just wipe your party.
The Sea Hedoras, the High Hedoras hit 5 times each, and the Sea Hedoras just attack your whole party. I think they only have 2 things they do, and both of them hit your whole party, so they're just horrible to fight without getting a back attack. Luckily, they have the easiest movement in the game, or one of the easiest movements in the game, to get a free back attack on. You just have to hope they cooperate.
Okay, so I don't want to get too deep into the drama here, but Decker Tia ship, really? Tia is so, restrictive with Maxim. How in the world is she going to survive Decker?
Well,
right, now off that one.
Let's just say that in the remake, the much superior game, that it's all laid out and kind of, done well.
Yeah, I'm starting to question the designers of the questionably superior new version. I remember High Hedora's having 5 hits, only Orky's having 8 hits. Huh.
Yeah, High Hedoras definitely do hit 5 times, but they also have a skill called Triple Blast, I think, that only hits once, and it only hits one person, so...
Just saw an old sword pickup for Mike. Now, in the bottom left, Sinister Rain is fighting Tortunas. There's only one reason to fight Tortunas, and that is point incentive.
Yeah, they drop the Earth Jewel, which is 10 points.
Exactly.
And they're probably the easiest of all the things that drop the jewels we're looking for to fight, so I'm assuming anyone that doesn't already have that incentive met by something earlier is probably going to be fighting them. Although this is sort of where we're going to start seeing, I think, different people doing different things in terms of skipping point incentives, because everyone's about, I guess, a little bit more, that most of them are a little bit more than halfway through the cave. We're also a little bit more than halfway through the entire 2 hours. So we're gonna see people start to pick it up, because again, we don't know what's coming. There could be horrible Archfiend treasure rooms. Hopefully not, but there could be. Same with Dragon Cons and all that stuff. So the longer they take here, the less time they're gonna have to navigate potentially horrible stuff later.
Exactly. Now, in a situation where they just don't have a kill, it doesn't really matter. They are going to want to, especially with the pressure of knowing that somebody else might have something that they don't, that it exists. They're going to really want to get as close to a kill as possible before they get to the really difficult floors.
Yeah, and I think so. Everybody found Decker Blade and Gatey's Blade, I assume. Which would mean that everyone that has Decker and Guy in their party is pretty much set up for a jelly kill, because you really only need, like, there are so many other things you can pair with those two items because they do most of the heavy lifting. So anyone that has Decker and Guy is pretty much set. And just needs to find a couple of other things.
Oh, okay. X-Pinkraz is back to the room where he died. Went down.
Yep, there's a knife thrower.
So it's gone face to face with the ninjas in the room below. Ellison just hit 60.
So
the
60.
Exactly.
60 is the last.
Sorry,
60 is the last set of floors where like new items start spawning. So what people are pretty much looking for from here on out is like a myth blade or an old sword or a lizard blow. Those are the kind of three strongest like vanilla non-blue chest items besides Decker Blade that everybody's going to try and get.
Great. We know there's an old sword.
Oh yeah, so Mike must have a kill if he has the Decker Blade and the Gatey's Blade then, because old sword on Maxim, you have to have like the worst RNG, and I still don't even know if that will keep you from getting the kill.
Right. No, the only thing that could probably keep him from getting the kill at this point is not making it. Everybody's alive. Everyone in his party is alive. He's got everything he needs to feed Darby up whenever he feels like it. We'll see. Kraz is just fighting it out, escapes again, and because of where he died before, did not see that the stairs are actually in the room above.
I wanted to give a really quick shout out to the fact that we are in the community sort of working on a open world randomizer. I didn't really have a way to segue into this, so I'm just going to say it. But for those of you that have played like the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise or was it Final Fantasy V Career Day type stuff, it's going to be similar to that, is at least what we're hoping to. It's very, very early in development. We just got a new guy that volunteered to work on it, so it's, probably a ways out. But I wanted to mention it because there are a lot of people that are very excited to play the randomizer for the vanilla game, open world key item randomizer kind of thing. So if you are interested in that, I would definitely recommend heading over to the AC Discord. We got a chat where we're kind of like throwing out ideas. If you're familiar with the other randomizers and you kind of have some ideas that you think might work well in Lufia, feel free to go ahead and post them there and stuff like that. So just wanted to throw that out there because that is definitely something that I personally am very, very excited about. I know it's a ways out, but it sounds amazing.
Sounds amazing. All right, it looks like Travatox and the Allison are in the same room trying to get the same point. at least the same half point.
Yeah, the first part of the same point.
Great.
There's a point incentive for killing gold gorms and gold dragons, which, I mean, the gorms aren't too bad, but you miss a deadly on the dragon.
They can be.
Yeah, true. If you miss a deadly on the gorms, I guess you could die too. So.
Yeah, same deal.
In fact, we're looking at Eli right here. He gets the runaway. Okay. So those things have golden mist, which attacks all of your enemies or all of your party for between 40 and 50 trillion damage. So you don't want to take more than one of those.
Yes, they can spam it. Well, 2 or 3 can use it. And first, good job. A no core for Mike.
Yeah, no cores are the final cores we want. We definitely want to see those on everyone if we can. They have tons of experience.
Travitalk showcasing some monster manipulation there on the left to get by the gold gorms without having to fight them.
Yeah, the movement in this game is probably the best part. I think it's like puzzle-like. I remember I said one time it was kind of like chess-like movement, and someone got super mad, so I say puzzle-like now.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, every monster. Not every monster, but there are tons of different movements in the game, and learning them is the best part. And watching these runners, like these are all top runners that know basically everything in the game about the movement.
No question.
At least everything important, and watching them navigate this is just, it's a treat.
Speaking of top tier, I want to shout out RPG Limit Break for hosting our tournament this year and helping us get in front of people who care about doing fun things on the weekends.
Yeah, definitely big shout out to everybody behind the scenes, both in the Ancient Cave community and all the people that are behind the scenes at RPG Limit Break and have helped it to become what it is. This is like, it's crazy to think that like 20 years after I played this game, or more than 20 years after I played this game, we are hosting a Lufia 2 tournament for people on the internet. This is just, it's mind-blowing. So I wanted to, also give a huge shout out to everybody.
No kidding. And RPG Limit Break does have a Discord. The link to their Discord is in the comments. Is that the first rally?
I don't think I've seen a rally before, so probably. I don't think they have Valor either, right?
No, definitely don't have Valor. A rally is a resurrection spell.
Yeah, it's probably the second best resurrection spell in the game if I'd had to guess.
I want to talk about puzzle movement. The room that Travitalk is navigating through and just maintaining encounters on his terms. Really, really neat stuff. And a deadly rod on Sinister Rain in the bottom left.
Do we have any curse lift? I haven't seen if we have any curse lifters. I feel like we probably don't, but if we do. So Deadly Rod is not only great because it's a deadly, like we were talking about, chance to instant kill, but also when you uncurse it, it has a great IP attack for the jelly, which does 1/8 of their current health as damage, and you can do it 3 times, all 3 turns. So
Great.
If we get a curse lifter, that is that's gonna be good. Because also, I don't think Sinister Rain does not have Guy, if I am not mistaken, which means that he can't use the Gades Blade either. So finding the Deadly Rod and a Curse Lifter would be huge.
No kidding. I didn't realize that. And I didn't realize he didn't have Guy.
I think he has Sealan, but I could be...
Oh, you're right. You're right. It just didn't register. I guess I just approved so quickly I forgot to register that means Guy's not there.
Okay, a little bit of a misstep right there from Sinister, also running into the side of the Gold Gorm. Luckily, gets the escape, though, before they get to attack him.
Mike, working his way around these gold golems, greedily going after a treasure room blue chest. I wonder what's in it too, though.
So, one thing I want to mention also is that we're about to be getting... Oh, wow, yeah, that treasure room is... Is that nasty? Yeah, that's kind of nasty. But,
Could be worse, but I'm pretty sure. Another Gady's Blade. That's what I wondered. Go ahead.
Ooh. That's the second or third double Gady's Blade seed we've had so far. I guess the blue chests kind of, or some of the chests kind of repeat, so it's not too crazy in the D-rando, but we're basically about to be in the final stretch in terms of dangerous floors. We're coming up after the gold gorms. There's another brief respite before we have to fight, or we have to go through archfiends and genies and all the stuff that we definitely don't want to fight. So hopefully the people that chose this seed were kind enough to not give us too many dragon cons and archfiend cons.
Up in the top left, Travatox did find the Deadly Rod, and Sinister Rain just got Rally. Survivability is skyrocketing for everybody, and Deadly Rod's in different rooms on Lee and Mike at the same time.
Yeah, the rally is huge, because now when someone dies, you're like, I'll just revive them. So you can worry about, you know, running by something that'll probably kill one or two people and not have to worry about, you know, if you're running out of miracles and stuff. So that's definitely very, very nice to see.
Sinister working his way through that same puzzle room I was talking about earlier. Complication of teleporters is so real. Holy fruit for Mike, so he could inform if he wanted to.
I mean, I don't even see why he shouldn't really even worry about bringing it back down to form 4 with wow, I'm like stuttering right now, sorry. He shouldn't worry about bringing it back down to form 4, because he has basically everything he could ever want.
True. You're absolutely right. And now he's in that same room. I was getting the back attack on these giants. Really important. They hit so hard.
I'm pretty sure also, since we have 2 Gady's Blades, you have to drop the first one, right? In order to get the points. You can't like find a second one and then feed it and get those points still.
Right, you have to feed the first one.
Okay.
I think you can keep the second one if you get a second one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone fed it except for Eli, or I actually don't know.
Pancras did for sure.
Oh, Pancras, that's right. So.
But I'm certain someone else did, and I don't remember if it was Ellie or Sen.
Ooh, Golden Mist on Sin right there. That's one of those things we were talking about. That's horrible. Wow, that he lives. That was
9 points on Artie. That's close.
Yeah, you get hit by 2 of those and you're usually dead. Even when they don't use Golden Mist, they also attack twice for a lot of damage. So yeah, getting into fights with those guys where you're not, you know, taking every advantage, like getting in first and stuff, is just, it can be very rough.
Yep, you definitely want to miss them if you can. It looks like everyone has gotten through that room, and Pancras has got his old sword. up to 56, so is not far at all. Not even 10 floors, I don't think, behind.
Yeah.
Really keeping a great pace.
Honestly, I didn't see if he got hit the Decker Blade again and the Gades Blade, but I'm gonna just assume that he probably did because he knew where they were the first time, or after getting them the first time. So he's probably set to start kind of fucking passing people up pretty soon. So
It's just flying through now. Looks like Mike just hit 69. Ellie's on 72. Autox in the top left is farming those Gorgon rocks. Didn't see if he got it. I don't think so. Now, in an ultimate set of confusion, a lot of the translation, there are many things in the translation that are just wild. Like, for instance, there is a Gorgon rock and a Gorgon rock. And I don't know, maybe you can keep those straight, Dink, but I have a hard time keeping those straight.
Yeah, the Gorgon rock is a blue chest item. You can also get it from torrents, I think they are, or no. Actually, I don't think that's what they are. Whatever spawns with orkies, you can get them from them, but like you don't farm orkies, right? So you're gonna get them from a blue chest, most likely, and then the Gorgon rock or Gorgon rock with an O is the one that not only do we get points for here, but we also want it for the jelly just in case, because it is kind of like a mini deadly rod for the jelly.
Good when you can get those in a corner and back attack them.
Oh, I also forgot. Some people have a Cancer Rock. So Cancer Rock actually pairs really well with Old Sword, which we have. You have just enough IP about to use Old Sword and then Cancer Rock. And that's a very, very good combo for the jelly. So everyone's going to be happy to be doing that with probably Maxim. So.
Right. That's probably one of the most fun parts, actually, with the D-Rando, is getting to see all the players have the same options at the jelly and just the different combinations that they use based on their team, based on their preferences. It's a lot of fun to watch at the end.
Is Gorgon Rock from Orky? I thought it was the thing that spawned with Orky, but I guess it could be from the Orky as well. All I know is that it spawns in that battle and you never get it usually. Because you don't want to fight those. I guess in 100% you could get it, but.
Mike farming. Uh-oh, genies. Genies are another one of those that can absolutely wipe your party, and when genies are super fast. Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're foes, but it looks like Ellie's just going to make quick work of them and get out of here. It's fun to play with the Orkies in 100%. Yeah, the benefit of 100% is, yes, it takes forever. I will never be able to do it. But you beef up so well that it's probably a lot easier to deal with Orkies if you're clearing every floor.
Yeah, I'm not personally very into running 100%, but I gotta imagine that even with all those levels and all the items that you'd have, they can still be pretty rough if your deadlies don't hit and stuff. So,
Right.
I guess you would still have to kill them though. So maybe I guess Gorgon Rock. I don't know what the drop percentage is, but you can definitely get it from Orkies pretty. Actually, I guess I could look it up one sec. I'm interested now.
You have a weird idea, Fun Lily. That's not me. That's what Shadow Killer says. Lots of feeding. So feeding is its own thing. You can't just give a monster random items. And even some of the items that they say they want, they don't. And you just waste them when you give them to them. The items like the spells have tiers. I don't know. But we're watching people feed that have a lot of experience with this. There's been, because there are so many resources in the Ancient Cave Discord, there's an actual spreadsheet that you can use to learn how to feed each different capsule monster, plus learn just generally what feeding tier each item is, so that you can feed more quickly. And our speed runners are now in the 40 minutes. So little things like learning how to feed are just where they're at in the level of detail and expertise that they're at for knowledge around this game, getting through it just as quickly as possible.
So I looked it up, and Gorgon Rock has a like 2% drop rate or something. So yeah, never mind. You probably don't even see that drop even in Hundo. But yeah, we're gonna be seeing people farming for that if they didn't get the Earth Jewel and Flame Jewel and stuff earlier, maybe. So I'm going to be interested to see.
What we're seeing here for Ellie is an arch friend. So there are arch fiends and there are arch friends. They look exactly the same, and you really just don't know until they hit you. If they punch you instead of double thunder, then it's probably a friend.
Yeah, or if they heal themselves, they can be a friend. Basically, if you survive, they're kind of friends. You know, that's
exactly
how I feel about it.
Exactly, they can end your run actually pretty darn easily.
They're another one of those things too that like you can be high level, you can have great gear, but they can just straight up end the run because they do so much damage. They're so fast. They do 2 actions, so they can double thunder your whole party. You can fight 2 of them, so 4 thunders. It's all bad. I think technically if you get like a bolt shield and a jute helm or something like that, they're not that scary unless you have to kill them, because then I believe Decker basically tanks all their stuff pretty well, but that's like of such a specific circumstance that, you know, that doesn't really happen very often.
Pankraz worked his way out of that movement puzzle room that we saw earlier with the teleporters and the gold Gorham and Riddlers, but not without a rune rapier, not without some bumps.
And here we see a lot of genies.
Yep. A lot of genies.
So Eli, this room could be difficult, but I'm assuming the people that vetted the seed, I'm assuming they got through fairly easily, so it might not be too bad.
So, under the right circumstances... Oh no, it doesn't look like there are right circumstances. Yep, he activated the second one. And now that might just be necessary. He might have to bring that up and around, but it's going to be really hard with all those genies in the way now.
Oh, there's a bush there I didn't see. Never mind. Okay, so... this is interesting. Actually, this doesn't look like... well, these genies could be very difficult, but it looks like he's probably going to be okay. If he can get these genies out of the way, he can then cut that bush and then probably just maneuver the Archfiend around and be okay. So hopefully these genies cooperate. I'm assuming that's what he's going to be doing here.
Right, and then under no circumstances do we want the door or the stairs to be straight to the right. We really want those to be toward the bottom of the room. 71 for Pankraz. Just plugging along. That's really amazing. Yeah, Ellie gets a nice puzzle room.
He is farming for that surprise attack, and he finally gets it. So he's going to try and take out these genies ASAP. And as soon as these are gone, assuming that all these deadlies and destroys and stuff don't miss, he should be clear to get at least out of this the middle of this treasure room. And then if the stairs are close by, he should be okay.
Yep, definitely a lot of genies on the screen. Now, imagine if every one of these was 3 wishes instead of 3 prayers each.
And there it is. So this is right now. He's pausing and just hoping this door leads to where he needs to go.
Exactly, and it does not. Here we go. Oh, so good. No Archfiends. That's a Cruel Storm hurts, but it's probably not going to wipe out the party.
Yeah, and they don't even use it as often as I mean, I guess they kind of do, but in general, you don't have to worry about Ice Rogues ever ending your run. So luckily, there are a couple floors in the middle of Archfiend floors where the Archfiends don't actually spawn as the main sprite. They can spawn as like the companion enemy that comes along with the main enemy, but I don't remember exactly what floors those are, but this is one of them, so that's actually very, very lucky.
Oh boy. That's the trouble with activating all of those fiend sprites, but I don't know that anything else could have been done. If anything else can be done, any runner that gets to that room will showcase it, so no, by the end. Sinister Rain on the bottom left, showcasing the benefit of the Path of Least Resistance philosophy. Doesn't look like least resistance right now, but the other direction was worse. Alright, here we have Travatox up in the top left, who did not activate Fiends, and now pretty much has a free reign to move things around.
Yeah, that was
out activating. Ooh, that was smooth.
It was all so perfect. That was great.
That was so smooth. Now actually even has a clear path to go back up as is needed.
Like the perfect genie blocking the Archfiend too. It was all just so good.
Yep. Really very impressive. Now it's just a matter of getting past one spawn of 2 wind genies. Pretty sweet.
Yeah, wind genies are pretty nasty when they do attack like they do right there, but luckily there's only one of them left, so.
Mike on the top right showing off Archfiends. Starting out getting thundered. Not very nice. But at this point has survived so much that it hardly phased him.
So we got just under 20 minutes left to make it to the jelly. So hopefully there aren't too many more roadblocks like that, those party rooms and stuff, because you got to find the stairs and then you got to set up for the jelly. So they're going to be getting kind of tight on time pretty soon.
Right.
This is one of those times where you kind of stop looking for points and just start looking for stairs.
Right. So Ellie is in pretty dire straits over here, but does have an encounter-laden opportunity to go exactly like that. Just straight up and run. Should be able to get through this without another encounter as long as takes that downward door instead of going up. Should be fine. Good thinking.
And here we have that same room for Sinister Rain.
Mm-hmm.
The good old puzzle genie arch-friend room.
Valor for Mike.
Valor is amazing. It's probably the best spell in the game. it full heals your whole party basically every cast, which is pretty good coming up for Anchor's found a curse lifter and he's behind everyone else, I think. Does that mean that we have curse lifters on other people? Did I miss that?
Can you say that one more time? Sorry, I was actually reading the chat.
It's okay. Pancras just found a curse lifter, but he's behind everyone else, I think, still.
Yep.
So does that mean we have curse lifters on other people? Because that would be pretty cool to see the deadly rod up there too. Eli also got one? Okay.
There we go. Leo.
Yeah, so it basically the way I'm seeing it is unless someone just goes too slowly, I don't imagine at this point anyone is going to fail to make it to the jelly in terms of like dying. Hopefully I didn't jinx them just now, but everyone is pretty high level. Again, the seeds were vetted for the most part, so bearing in mind that we don't get some, unfortunate RNG in the battles, everyone should be okay, but they do have just over 15 minutes left, so
a little bit of
need
a
to
little
start
ways to
going.
go.
Here's Pancras doing his little swag spins as he gets into the treasure room.
And just a quick shout out to you, Iscorian. I hope I said your name right. Welcome to the Discord. So yeah, there's Pancras just made it to the puzzle room where Mike is also navigating. Mike's taking that bottom right.
I think, is Sinister there too? Sinister's there too, I think. I think we have 3 people in it right now.
All right, so we've got a bit of a convention, and it looks like, oh goodness, Mike is definitely activated too, and it looks like Pancras is activated too, and won't see the second one that is activated for a little while. But remember, that first one going straight down is not too bad. There's no Archfiend there, but I don't know that.
Yeah, even though I guess if you know the floor layouts, like exactly what monsters spawn, you should know that there could never be more than 1 Archfiend on this floor, if I'm not mistaken, or per battle on this floor. So that should make it a little bit easier knowing that you're going to face an Ice Rogue and an Archfiend, but even just one can still be kind of devastating. So nobody really wants to test out the theory of whether or not it's an Ice Rogue or not.
No kidding. Not if you don't have to. Sinister Rain not being greedy, taking just a straight shot down. Now, if he gets this genie trapped just right, he'll be able to exactly like that. Now he's got free reign. Oh, I have free reign to move the Archfiend, but
bit of a misstep, and he's choosing to fight him. Oh, he has the speed though, and Artie just destroys that Archfiend immediately. That's pretty nice.
That's so satisfying.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm faster. I'll just kill this Archfiend, and then he just misses, and I die. So I probably wouldn't have done that if I were him right now. But
right. It looks like Mike took one out too with an Archfiend and Ice Rogue, just not even messing with it. But I guess if you have the speed, which again, somewhere between satisfying and jealous.
So it looks like, so Travatox is on 85 right now, and on 88 is when Archfiends and Genies no longer spawn anymore, and that's like the final run where there's just Metallic Dragons and Dark Summoners, both of which are generally easy to avoid fighting. The only kind of exception to that is if you're in a tight hallway and there's dragons. That can slow you down a lot. So hopefully we don't see any of that. But as soon as he gets to 88, he's basically going to be booking it for every stairs that he can find.
Exactly, except for an IP farm. Now, Ellie is on 86, but just checked these genies. Got out pretty quick. How did they get so fast?
I think they have 2 C rings or something, maybe, so that helps. And I don't know if they got Twist Jewels, but Twist Jewels like kind of like the other thing. Twist Jewel, Hedora Rock, and levels, I guess. But yeah,
I think everybody has a kill now, and I would definitely feel better seeing them just run. But I also don't really think that's an option. There have been quite a few, not 100% forced, but pretty forced encounters. Kraz gets out of the room and freed toward the stairs. For just one more genie fight, but you can actually bypass that with the right movement.
Yeah, Traffic Talks, you can see now he's on 86. He's completely just disregarding chests. He knows he has a kill. I don't even know if he has to. I think he doesn't have IP on one person, but he might not even need it. It might be like Maxim or something, and he has a kill without it anyway. So
right, and I
we'll
haven't seen Trick or anything that does it, but I also just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think they need it either. They got Decker Blade, Gady's Blade, probably Uncursed Deadly Rod, which is why you might not need IP on Maxim. They all have Thunder, I think. It's looking good.
Kraz makes it to the stairs and level 80, then 81 right away.
Yeah, it's getting close. Traffic Talks, again, barring any like super horrible dragon hallways and stuff, is looking like he's probably gonna make it on time. Everyone else is gonna need to start picking it up because 81 for Pancras is a little bit. It's a little bit close.
No kidding. Now, Ellie is at 88, and he looks to be IP farming for Lexus.
What? Oh, Gorgon Rock. I see. That's the one drawback of Lexus. Lexus is actually a really good character. He has about Maxim's HP and speed for most of the cave. So he's decent, and his spell power is incredible. He does so much damage with spells. But he has like literally nothing for the jelly outside of three items or something like that. So
okay, so I've pretty much let you have your way with opinions up to this point, but I draw the line at Lexus. Lexus is not pretty good.
My bad. He's very good.
Lexus isn't moderately good. Lexus is horrible. In the game, in the cave, it's so bad. He's so squishy. Now, the one thing I will give him is that he starts out with enough MP to cast high-level heals. Other than that, he's just a meat shield. What did Mike call him earlier? Death tank. He can death tank for you in the front row.
Yeah, that's also useful. Because basically one of the problems with taking someone other than Guy is that you have to front row Maxim, but if you take Lexus, you can front row Lexus, which is pretty nice. Because you want to talk about...
Because he's always dead.
Yeah, I mean, just throw Maxim in the front and you'll realize that he's actually the worst character in the entire cave. I guess you're forced to take him, so, you know.
He's better than an empty spot. Very useful. I don't know. Maybe for aesthetic. This is a nice shade of green. Worst characters end up being the best in the randomizers. That could be because it seems like all of their stuff is just available. Like all their best gear is just available. Maybe
Yeah,
that way.
Another thing too is that in the other randomizer that we have, the Terror Wave one, you can just have like insane like Decker level stats and use all of Decker's gear on Lexus. So I guess that's usually pretty fun to see. But Lexus is fine. He just sucks on the jelly, you know.
And the entire rest of the game.
Nah.
At one point in the actual game, they trick you into thinking that the Sinistrals, or no, you know what? Wait, is it 20 years long enough for spoilers? Anyway, long story short, they know how bad Lexus is, and you have a moment of wonder. Is this the character that's not gonna make it?
Yeah, I mean, without him, we wouldn't have killed the Sinistrals, you know what I'm saying? He built all the boats, he built all the flying boats, he built all the sinking boats. He's
It's
the
really
greatest.
important to you, isn't it?
It's very important.
Alright, well, I either get one, you or Lexus, you get to choose. But now, Ellie just hit floor 97. Mike has made it out of the room. The horrible treasure
Pancras.
puzzle room. Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, Double Thunder. I think that might be that. Oh!
Pancras!
And
Yes!
the little swag spin
The
after.
swag
Let's
spin.
go.
Now, Ellie is in a little bit of a tough situation, but he's in control. There's a Dragon Con on the other side of this doorway, but he seems to have gotten the better of this Leech fight. And Leeches and Dark Summoners. It started out just Dark Summoners.
Those stairs are the final stairs for Travitox, and he is on the jelly floor.
Travitox was behind for quite a while. Was slowest, but as you can see, spent that time really racking up the points and is now the first to the jelly. So this is that fun part I was telling you where all of the players have generally the same options, but will all set up just a little bit different because of some of their preferences or differences in who they brought with them. So keep an eye out there. And now if you have any questions or if you're wondering about, what each of these items does or why they pair items the way that they do, we have resources for that in the Ancient Cave Discord. Plus, you can really jump in there and ask anybody anything. There are quite a few people in there who really just love to talk about the Ancient Cave. Really good at it. So stop by. Yeah, Ellie's having a little bit of a hard time. Pancras had a really hard time, but still making it look good.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the end for Pancras, but that was definitely a good showing, especially getting back to the point that he got back to after dying like 45 minutes in is kind of incredible. So definitely GG's.
Absolutely amazing. Mike is to floor 86, so getting closer to the kind of safer floors, but not quite there. And we've got 5 minutes. The rest of our runners have 5 minutes to make it to the jelly, and it looks like Ellie's having to start over with that IP farm.
95 for Sinister Rain, and as far as I can remember, there wasn't any roadblocks that Travitox really ran into, so Sinister should be getting there just fine. Eli got a Cinder Blast right there. I didn't see what IP he ended with. Hopefully it was enough.
Not quite, I don't think. Maybe I missed it. In love for Pancras in the comments.
Yeah.
Seriously. GG's Pancras. Well played.
Yeah, that
Very
was
well played.
That was good, especially like the that death. 45 minutes in is pretty deep in to die, so to be able to get that close again was very, very good.
A question, and I hope you get yourself that hot shower you deserve. Shower cries are the best.
Yeah, the Ancient Cave does definitely make me want to cry at all times.
Quite a bit. Was our fatal blow? Decent roll. Excellent.
That was pretty good, yeah. So I didn't see. Oh yeah, Gatey's Blade. Yeah, we're good. So we're probably going to be seeing, or maybe I should make it suspenseful. I don't know if Travitox has enough to make it to the jelly. Is he going to kill it? I don't know.
Tornado blow. Hey, there's a showcase. You'll never see this again because no one ever brings gusto. And what do you know? Doesn't actually. Pretty anticlimactic. But he's pretty at least. That's nice. I'm gonna start dealing with some dark summoners.
Dark Summoners, if you go in unprepared, are pretty awful. But once you learn their movement and how low of HP and what you can kill them with, they're actually pretty nice to get some like last minute IP or XP on if you have to. So that's what we're seeing right here from Sinister Reign. Turn 3 for Traffic Talks. I don't know if he's gonna get it, guys. It's gonna be close.
Ellie is really working on rebuilding his IP pool. Mike also.
And there it is.
Way to go! There's our first kill so far.
Against all odds.
Gravitox proving slow and steady does indeed win the race. Now the only thing that can set him back is if any of the other runners get there under 2 hours, start their fight in under 2 hours, and actually get the kill and surpass him in points. I'm not sure that's even possible.
Eli just got his last what's it called? IP, and is now about to fight the Jelly as well, so
already doing his setup and moving in. Excellent.
There is also a possibility that not every point has been accounted for, so whether it looks like someone's going to win or not is not entirely true. They're going to be opening their inventories hopefully soon if we need to check any points and stuff, but as of right now it's looking like
Sinisters made it.
It's looking like we're going to have a tie between Eli and Traffic Talks, which would give Traffic Talks the victory based on time, unless there are extra points. Extra points that Eli does not have.
I don't know. Yep, we'll leave that to the scorekeeper. So, like I said, that attention thing, I couldn't keep score if that were the only thing that I were doing in life. So, simply don't trust me on comms and scorekeeping. All right, final engagement.
The power gorge strat.
Oh, not a super fatal blow. That's okay. It's only a couple hundred low.
Yeah, with the rest of the stuff. So he doesn't have Gatey Split because he didn't bring Guy, which is rough, but I think he should still be okay.
All right, everybody who's made it to the jelly did engage under 2 hours, so all kills will count. There's another kind of low fatal blow, almost exactly the same. It's exactly the same number.
Oh, Eli, does he do it? He does it.
Oh, it must have been right on. Way to go, Ellie. Power and ability indeed. I think Mike tried to run in the first round, so ugh.
Wait, really? I didn't see that.
Think so. I thought I looked away just in time to see it say
there's a chance that he did that in order for swag points to kill it in 2 turns. Because he does have Guy, which means he will be using Decker Blade and Gatey's Blade, which 2 turns is not too crazy. I missed that. Did Sinister just get it?
There's Sinisters. Yep, Sinister's got it.
Okay.
Number 3.
So many jelly fights at once. I only have 2 eyes.
I know, right? Power and ability. I have to admit, you are the world's best warrior. I'm not sure that he is qualified to make that official, but okay.
Well, I mean, the jelly's just letting you hit him. Imagine if the jelly were to fight back, just destroy all the Sinistrals and everyone.
I'm out of here. Nope, Mike did not get it.
So I'm interested to see if that. I mean, the run must have been on accident then.
Well, I don't think he had a Decker blade.
Oh.
He went double Gades,
Really?
I believe.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's a thing.
That'll do it, right?
That'll do it.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't know if he didn't find it or accidentally fed it, but yeah, he went in with two Gades blades equipped and just didn't have enough.
That was still impressive from
wild.
literally everyone. That was awesome.
He says bonus points. Yeah, a no Decker blade win usually does.
That makes sense.
Usually does get extra points, right? Two Gades blades, but he didn't feed Darby, so.
And he also ran in the first round, apparently, according if that's true.
I'm pretty sure, and somebody else said he did too.
Yeah. Well then, we'll
Okay.
never know.
Well, it looks like our final tally is up, and it looks like Ellie is our 2022 Fatal Blowout champion with a score of 335 points.
Wow.
So congratulations to Ellie. Great race. This was a really fun seed to watch.
Yeah, it was great.
I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of really nice treasure rooms. And Ellie, if you're in chat and you can hear me, I want you to go back to Travic stream and watch what he did in that treasure room with all the Archfiends and genies, and you're just going to be so upset.
It's so beautiful and perfect in every way.
You're just going to be so mad. But
Oh my gosh.
congratulations, Ellie. That was just incredible. Great runs by everybody. Shout out to all our finalists. It was fantastic. Big shout out. Oh, I can hear myself. Why is that? Don't like that. Don't like that. Make it stop.
I can hear you too.
Okay. Let me just put on some different music here. Okay. I'm going to give a little bit of a special shout out to Pankraz, by the way. That guy fought tooth and nail to get back into the cave and back into this race and almost did it. It was incredible. He's a great runner. I'm going to be excited to watch him in the future, for sure. But once again, all these runners are top tier. So much fun to watch. Had a lot of fun. Thank you to so many people that were involved with this. First off, our commentators, Meets and Mrs. Mike. Thank you guys so much. Fantastic job.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was very, very fun.
I want to thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Puexel and RPG Limit Break for letting us do this every year. Really means a lot. Big shout out to my partner in crime, Kriegspire, who does so much behind the scenes. Like, I can't even describe it. From scorekeeping to testing and making seeds and just every little thing. He's always there, got my back to help me when I forget stuff. I want to thank Real Critical for questioning everything, which is good. I know that sounds kind of bad, but he's there and double checks everything, which is very nice to have. I want to thank Ellie for making the scorekeeping spreadsheet that we used. It was very helpful and just made things a lot easier. Mitchie and Eve for also testing seeds and keeping score. Suki, who made some of the music you heard when we were setting up. He made some of the remixes. He's a great member of our community as well. All the runners, all the commentators, so many people to thank. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's been so much fun. We love doing this every year. Once again, if you want to join the Discord, if you're interested in learning the cave, or you're interested in the Lufia 2 randomizer that we're working on, or anything like that, or if you just want to hang out, join the AC Discord. We're all good people. We like doing community events like this a couple times a year, and all are always welcome.